Okay, so welcome to Autolist, your automation program management tool. And what we aim to do is help you deliver faster and discover more opportunities as well. So let's just sign in, and you can use either button. Just filling in my company profile, and in the background, that helps Autolist find opportunities, but we'll get to that in a moment. So then there's these 6 levels of automation maturity. You can see which level you think your team's at. So let's say we're in the experimentation phase and we're just starting out. Put some hours here. And what I can do now is I can try out this discover more. And this will do, it's searching for opportunities, automation processes that match my profile. So as you can see here, there is some opportunities here, and any that have a download icon means that it can be downloaded right now as a ready-made automation bot that we can install and deploy straight away. It doesn't even need to be developed. You can just go in there. If you do have a developer, you can customize the code, but this is pretty much plug and play, and you can see the total saving here that these opportunities can deliver. Let's keep all of those, but you can discard if you need. Okay, great. So even if you decided to download some of those opportunities that are ready-made bots, there are other opportunities that still need to go through a project process. So we're just adding in our core team. So um, let's add Jane. And then who's the program sponsor? Let's CC. And she's a director level. Okay, so we'll add that team. They'll be able to log into the application. They will be able to track how your projects and the whole program as a whole are progressing. Maybe you've collected some automation opportunities already. You've gone into the company, you spoke to staff, and you actually have some opportunities. So you can just use this template here, and you can upload your template into Autolist. If you have a automation provider, a robotic process automation RPA provider, you can select them here, or you may have someone that's not on our list. Maybe you're Automate or with someone like Automation Anywhere. You can add that in, or perhaps you're not decided yet. So that's fine too. But what this does is it helps generate your toolkit based on the best practices of that provider. And then on this screen, you can add manually. You can add new opportunities to your pipeline as well. You can review and edit your pipeline opportunities, and then you just add that in. It gets ingested into Autolist. Okay, so here's your dashboard, and you've got the metrics as you're progressing through your project. You can see the metrics here as your team start to deliver and implement automation, and you'll see the time saved in the live projects and the financial savings added in and start to add up, as well as the KPIs. So if you've highlighted the KPIs that you want to measure, in this example, we put into the pipeline compliance, accuracy, speed, and costing as the KPIs, and you can define whatever KPIs you want. This will start to measure here. So you can see that, for example, cost savings has a lot of projects which are on target, and it has a few that have been delayed. Compliance, their projects have mostly been extended, and we can get into that in a minute. And then as you go along, it's broken down by team and department. And so the projects that we're looking at now, starting at 0 basically, and here are the stages that a process will go through. And these stages you can define. However, each stage has a checkpoint and a checkpoint criteria, which again you can define as well. So here's your processes. And as a project program manager or the head of automation, you can schedule when you want a process to start, a project to start, and you can assign a project manager to a project, and then you press go, and that person goes and starts that project on the time that you've scheduled. Okay, so let's assign Mary to this, and then that will ping a notification to Amy to Mary's profile, and also she'll receive an email. Notifies her that there's a project that's now been assigned to her, and she can start that project. Just log in as Mary, and we can see here that Mary has one project assigned to her, and there's an action to start that project. So Mary can then go in and start. At the bottom here, Mary can track any project that she is associated to, that's linked to her profile. And Mary, as a project, as an analyst or project manager, can see all the actions that are outstanding for different people in the project, and can see what's been completed and if there's anything outstanding. So this tab is to do with the stages, which stage the project is in, and if there's anything that requires approval, if there's any messages that have come from the subject matter expert or other stakeholders of the process that require Mary to get back to them and answer questions. And that comes later on in the collaborative work of building the automation, designing the automation solution, and collecting the requirements. Then you've got the project actions, and as you can see, there's just one action owned by Mary, which is to start the project. There's a bit of description, and that status is pending. It's waiting for Mary to get started. There's been a schedule set by the program manager or project manager that this needs to be started no later than a few days from now. We can track who's signed it off and if they've approved it or if they've rejected it and the reasons, etc. We can take a look at that at a later date. So we can click on here to go to the project, or we can click on here to start the project. There would have been an initial assessment of these projects so that it can be brought into the pipeline, and this project is a medium, but then Mary can review the notes and say, actually, no, I think this is a small complexity or low complexity, or potentially it's a high complexity or a large complexity project. So with our web forms and from business requirements documents to process maps and things like business cases and PDDs, it becomes a lot more collaborative. The business analyst can come in and start messaging and message different people on the project, from the subject matter expert and the developer. They can have a three-way conversation really effectively inside this platform, and it's very easy to see which part of each web form where the discussion is targeted at. So for example, we're talking about user stories. The business analyst can reply to different messages coming back from the SME, or can send their SME specific questions that they have about the information that they've talked about. So the business analyst would have scheduled them a workshop and run through this with the subject matter expert. But after that workshop, the business analyst can review the information even with the developer and say, look, these are the user stories, this is the process map that we gathered, and both the business analyst and developer can communicate with the subject matter expert via this application. So you can just click on any of the areas to type in a question and direct it to a specific person. This is my control panel to show me everything that's going on with all my projects. So as a project manager, I can see everything that I'm working on. So from a process owner perspective, same sort of thing. I can see my notifications, any actions that are outstanding for me personally. I can see this again, the stages of the project, any outstanding actions, and if I own any actions, and if I need to sign off anything. Well, this helps me to see when the next stage is due to begin, so that I need to make myself free for additional engagements with the business analyst. So for each step, there's a checklist, and there are different automated workflows within different types of checklists. So for example, there's a checkpoint to have the developer review the requirements. So I can just click one button, and then the application knows who the developer is or the lead developer is on this, and that will get sent out to the developer. So as you can see on the process definition document, we added in some applications, and we can add in application owners for each of those applications. So let's just say that Jane, who's the developer lead, is also the application owner to both of these applications. So then if I need to request, this could be completed by someone even on a different project, but then it's housed centrally. So then the project already knows what applications are involved in this project. So then when I request access for all the applications for this project, and it automatically sends out requests to for the right access levels to those application owners. This sort of checklist happens after each project. So I can even click book workshop, and I can select the different stakeholders I want to attend that workshop. And if you upgrade to the higher version, then this integrates with your Outlook to get that sent out. These workflows are built in, so you just have to click a button. This will send out a chain of events to create different activities, specific actions, reminders and alerts, and even escalation paths to make sure that these actions, when you need it to be completed, have been completed in the right time. So it automates a lot of that chasing and a lot of that having to escalate and finding who the right person is. You can just press a button, request information, or book a workshop, or request someone to review something, or request test data, for example. And once you've pressed that button, the automation workflow will work in the background for you to make sure that these activities are done by the time that you need it, so that you and your team can focus on automation delivery. So, how to get started? So, the first things first is once you've filled in your profile, you've added your A team who are going to help you deliver these automations. You can set up your governance, you can start to customize your governance model, setting the stages, making sure you've put the checklist in place, adding in service level agreements to set when you want triggers to happen so that individuals can be reminded, but also who to escalate things to when an action is taken too long to complete. You can set your criteria, you can set your checklists to make sure that everything is set up so that so that once you've set up the governance, you've identified the different timelines, how long you want each step to take based on the complexity level. And this is just an approximation, a high level view. Understanding how you calculate a complexity, what is small, medium, or large complexity. Once you've set all this up, then your automation is ready to go. And the final thing to do is customize your toolkit, which are your web forms, so that when each team member is filling out a form, a business case, or a process definition document, you can roll out to all of your team standardized template, and you can use the agnostic templates, or you can just use the templates that have been designed by Blue Prism and UiPath, and pretty much once you generated your template, one that matches your vendor or our standard one, then you can go in and customize that, changing titles, changing the tooltips, hiding different fields. You can even customize the whole structure of your form so that you can see how your team will see the forms. Unhide that and it pops up here. You can change this to say whatever you want, and that will change the name. You can say you don't want to have any attachment. You can hide these, and you can put a link instead. You can schedule when you want to roll out the new version. Complete your project. Download ready-made automation bots. Assign your A team. Customize your workspace, and you can upgrade to discover more. It's time to get it done. Autolyst is your automation program management tool.